Today's video, we're going to talk about Snapchat ads and whether they work or not for your business. Yes, Snapchat ads will work as good as Facebook ads, Google ads, any other ads that you're running if you know how to do it the correct way, which I'm going to go through what the tips are, the pitfalls, if you will, also that you need to know to stay away from those things to get your ads to work, as well as go through a few different case studies here. That real companies that we've actually ran the Snapchat ads for, so you can understand if this will actually work for your business as well. For the most part, it'll work for any business. You just may not be able to do it as much as another type of business that might have a more mass appeal. The general public could buy your product or service versus niche businesses, which you're not going to have that because the level of targeting that Snapchat has isn't going to be as good as a YouTube or a Google because they're smaller website, app / business that don't have access to as much data. Even though they buy data from third parties, it's still not the data that Google has. So they can't offer you the same level of targeting. So anyway, with that said, I'll give you everything you need to know to replicate these kind of results for yourself and to stay away from the stuff that'll make your campaign unsuccessful and you don't throw your money down on MoneyPay. Getting into the content. Most people think Snapchat is just a bunch of kids, but it's really a mature app now. Just like Facebook started out, it was just kids using it. Eventually, every one of these social apps, they get to be old people on it. It's almost funny. What happens is there's a life cycle of a social media app. It starts out, it's kids, there's a few more adults, grandma starts getting onto it. Now it's not cool anymore. Now it's a higher percentage of grandmas versus kids than it was before, and then pretty soon it's just known as an uncool app. The kids go to a new social media app that came out, and then the same thing happens there again, and it just repeats and it repeats. 20 years from now, there'll probably be like 50 social media apps because of this whole phenomenon. Anyway, so it's mature enough to have real people that have real money are on this platform now in order to make money from the platform advertising on it. And it also works on other devices now. It's not just on the mobile phones, but you can use this on a desktop as well. Not a lot of people do that, but it's not just you don't just have to use it on a mobile phone, which makes obviously the advertising more productive because somebody who's on a desktop device where you want to put their credit card information in after clicking on your ad, it's way easier to monetize that level of traffic from desktop devices. So anyway, with that said, here is the basic information that you need to know to be able to extract the value that's available in your market off of the Snapchat platform. So, and this advice, by the way, applies to pretty much anything else that you're doing to advertise online. You start with, which the basic premise is, start with the easiest to monetize stuff first and then go to the harder stuff to monetize after that. Why? Because it'll make sure you don't A, run out of money before you ever get to the other side, and B, of course you'll learn the type of stuff that works on a small scale basis before you go ahead and blow up a huge budget and waste all your time and your money. But for the most part though, the most important thing is the wide scale, broad advertising that you think you want to do doesn't work. And if you're going to make money, you have to find very specific audiences with a very specific approach to extract a profit from your ad spend. And so that's done on a smaller level, not on a wide scale level. So it makes sense to start with a small scale ad spend on a small scale set of targeting that targets the most likely to people to buy that you could think of versus the people that probably wouldn't buy, but you're going to try anyway for those people because more than likely it's just that specific audience that's actually going to be able to make enough profit for you to make money. In a general sense, most people that run ads, non-search engine based advertising online, they fail because they go too broad with their targeting. They think, oh, I'll just show this to everybody in Dallas, and if somebody likes it, they'll click on the ad, they'll buy. Great, right? No. Every time that damn ad gets seen by somebody that doesn't care about what you're selling, it costs you money. And so it's death by 1,000 cuts. In order to make money, you got to be able to get your ad in front of a high enough percentage of people that actually do want to buy or could buy, to be able to make money, given that the people who don't want to buy are going to drag down the ROI of your campaign. So how can you target within the targeting that you have to get the targeting so precise that there's at least 1% of the people out of who you're targeting would buy, because that's generally the threshold you need, the kind of scale you need to be able to make money from your ad spend, because that eliminates most of the waste, or as much waste as it typically takes for your ads to be able to make money, okay? Which is why, such as retargeting, where you have your ads show up for people after they got to your site, generally works so well, because the people within the audience that you're targeting, at least 1% of those people want to buy. You know that because they've self-selected themselves and said that they were interested in not only a product like you sell, but your product specifically, in order to get on that list to begin with. Which is why, going into the order in which you're going to use the Snapchat advertising, you're going to start with the retargeting stuff. Extract all the value you can out of that, then go to the stuff that's more speculative. Recycle your profit into more speculative stuff where you're unsure if it's going to work. Spend 10% or so of your budget there and start testing. Maybe it'll work, maybe you won't, but you won't take a huge gamble, just shotgun blast your advertising and hope it works, because it almost never works out for people that do that. Anyway, so the best of the best, most likely stuff to work is going to be, if you are an e-commerce company at least, or if you were doing lead generation, it would be people that have already filled out one of your forms, but you haven't bought yet, or gotten to the point where they've went through your ordering process and abandoned, like if you have a long application form or something like that. But for the most part, people that have e-commerce businesses, people that get to the cart of your site and then abandon, those are who I would target first, because that's almost always going to be profitable to go after those people with ads, not just on Snapchat, but elsewhere. So I would get all the value you can there, then go after people that have viewed specific products on your site. Again, this is just for product companies, but don't worry, it works for service companies too. But if someone's looking for a specific product, you can run dynamic remarketing ads. So if they look at product A, they'll see product A on their ad on Snapchat. Why does that work the best? Because somebody gets to your site, is he going to buy it at as high of rate as people who got all the way to a product page? And then when you can show them the exact product that they were looking at, that's going to be more likely to work than a generic ad. So that's the second most profitable thing you can basically do on that platform. Third thing you would do once you've extracted all the value you can there, go into the general remarketing. So if they just got to your site in general, have advertisements show up. This is basically where you're going to show testimonials, reviews, your average review score on Google, your warranties, your guarantees, your money-back guarantees that you have. Beyond that, durability testing that you've done that proves the product is good, awards that you've got. Because most of the time, a lot of you guys don't realize this. The main reason why people don't buy from you, unless you're you're the top brand in your space, is because people don't trust you. You do all this remarketing to get people to trust you. And the reason why people don't do this, or you don't see it done, is because people typically don't see a testimonial from a customer and say, oh wow, I'm going to order right now. That's not how it works. People see that testimonial and then they're willing to go buy later at a higher rate than they would have otherwise if they didn't see that testimonial. And then when you stack all these other ads that have all these social proof on it and reasons why you're the top person in the space, whether you are or not, it multiplies the likelihood of that person that you spent good money to get to your site in the first place, their likelihood to buy, and makes any of the ads that you use to get people to the site in the first place pay off at a higher rate. So I'm typically always going to do that for a client on this platform, but not just on Snapchat. I'm going to run those ads everywhere so that if a person only goes to TikTok, they're still seeing my ads there, because that's a critical piece to get my Google ads to work. Or if they only go to Snapchat, I want to make sure I'm there too for the same reason. So get your value, all the value you can there. Then the next most profitable thing, or likely to be profitable thing, is the lookalikes audiences, where you upload a customer list or you put your pixel on your site, and then Snapchat tries to find people that look like the people that buy from you or visit your site and get your ad in front of them people. For the most part though, this generally only works if you have at least 300 visits to your site a day, because the machine learning algorithm that they have isn't robust enough to work off of small numbers. The greater numbers you have for them to look at, the more likely that this type of targeting method type is to work. Or if you're talking about uploading customers, which would be better, if you have at least 10,000 customers to upload, that would be the time where it actually has a decent chance of working for you and generate a ROI on the ad spend that you're going to spend with Snapchat. So if you don't have those numbers, it's most likely not going to work. Or let's say you don't have 10,000 customers. Well, at that point in time, maybe you have at least 300 visits to your site a day. We'll use this 300 plus visits to your site a day as a way to do your lookalikes audience. You get my point here? So you need a certain amount of minimum data to make this work. If you do it, go ahead and give it a shot. Maybe it will work, maybe it won't. Depends on what you have, how exciting it is, and more importantly, what the offer is. You can a lot of times take a boring product or service, come up with a way to package it in an interesting way, and then get your ad spend to work, whereas if you didn't package it up in an interesting way, it wouldn't work. Not that everybody can do this, but just to give you just a quick example, my own firm, we offer PPC services at our agency. If I just went out and said, hey, hire our PPC firm, wouldn't work. Because I could say no pay, no fees until you get more sales results on your campaign, it will work because it's exciting, it's something different that they haven't seen before. But you're saying, well, I can't offer something for free like that. Well, we've had other people where they did something as boring as a mortgage. They're a mortgage broker where they sell mortgages and refinancing of mortgages. What they did was said, we'll guarantee you the lowest rate on your mortgage refinance, or we'll give you a free gift card to Outback Steakhouse. And that's the type of out-of-the-box offer / thinking that will get your ad to work. Whereas if you just said, hey, come with me, I'm the greatest mortgage broker in all of Dallas, Texas, nobody gives a shit, okay? Nobody. So yes, people, it's scary to do some of this stuff, but the fact that it's scary means your competitors won't do it, which means it actually has a chance to work. You got to get some balls to get your ads to work sometimes. So, and naturally, if somebody doesn't need a mortgage, they're not going to respond to that ad that I just gave you. But the whole goal is, like I said, is the 1% of the people that you're targeting are in negotiation of getting a mortgage at that point in time. And because you have a really, really good offer for that person, they'll bite. Whereas even if they were looking for a mortgage, just saying you're a mortgage broker, that's not going to even get that person to bite. So you have to be well targeted, but you also have to come to the table with something that looks like you give a shit about getting their business. Just saying you want their business, hey, hire me, that doesn't look very genuine to the consumer, that you are serious about doing what you're doing and getting a new customer from that person. So come to the table with something. Anyway, once you've gotten lookalikes targeting, got all the value from that, you can now tap into generally the predefined audiences. So you just go through all the predefined audiences, see if something applies to you. A lot of you guys, there's going to be nothing that applies to you. Don't go and try to put a square peg into a round hole here. If you sell, pineapple farm consulting, don't go ahead and just pick farming interest, by itself, because it's probably not targeted enough, and you're going to end up wasting your time. If you think maybe it will fit, you obviously can test it out. It's up to you, but I can tell you, for the most part, if it's not kind of like a pretty much direct match there, like for instance, if you sell custom cabinetry and the interest is home services, it's not targeted enough. Generally speaking, that's not going to work. So look through what they have. If they have something, definitely test that. And then once you've gotten all the value from that, you can get into broad demographic targeting, where you're just targeting like anyone over 35 who has that's in the top 20% of income demographic in Dallas, Texas. And maybe you can get that to work. That's going to be something, though, for the most part, 98% of you guys watching isn't going to apply, which is why I put it at the bottom of the list, because what you're selling, you have a niche business. You're not selling something to the general public. You're not selling Oreo cookies that anybody could buy, or massage services that anybody can buy. So if you are, you should definitely try it. And then with that, go ahead and look at who's the most likely customers that you have coming in the door. How old are they? What's their gender? What's their income level? Where are they geographically located? And try to run your ads and see if you can get it to work. But again, that in itself is tricky. For the most part, to sum all this up though, it's easier to go after someone on YouTube because you can, Google/YouTube has targeting in millions of different, millions of different options. So you could find that person who's most likely to want a massage in that case. I could go after them with YouTube. Once I get them to click, then I can remarket to them on Snapchat and then have that be my model instead of trying to find my new customer on Snapchat, which is way harder to do. And at least until I've extracted all the value out of Google and YouTube advertising and Google Display Network, where I can do the same level of targeting using Google's data, I'm not going to go spend my money on Snapchat trying to find a customer there because they don't have the same level of targeting options that Google has or even Facebook has. So just some general food for thought there. So anyway, with that said, targeting wise, that's kind of like how I would go about this. Now, some general tips here to get this to work, as I've found. Use video ads. Why? Because you're not, on Facebook, you can, in the description section, you can have a big paragraph of text that explains what you're offering. You don't get that necessarily with Snapchat. So video will do the speaking for you. You can use your video script to get across what you're trying to get across. And along with that, by the way, a lot of you guys make a mistake when you're running your ads on Snapchat, but elsewhere, outside search engines, and you try to drive people to your product page on your website. So you have a good video, and then you drive into a product page on your website. It's too much too soon. You're asking to have sex with her on the first night. It's too much. You gotta be more seductive in how you're doing this. You gotta send them to an intermediary landing page, which goes more into the selling of that product. Then you can send them to your product page. But just going from a video on Snapchat to get in to buy that product instantly, unless it's a $50 item, it's probably too much too soon. Just some general advice there. Anyway, second tip, turn off the expanded audience automatically. This is basically how they word it, but you'll see in the options when you set up your campaign, expanded audience automatically. So basically what this does, it takes your targeting options and just basically ignores them. It's going to show to whoever they think they want to show your ad to, which of course they're trying to make money, so they don't give a shit whether or not you get a return. And frankly, because most people don't have tracking set up or know how to track anything, they don't have any clue it doesn't make money, and they're literally speaking, they want to get as much money from you as quick as they can because they know you're going to be gone in 6 weeks. The more they can get you to spend in that 6 weeks, the more they make. So they don't give a shit about anything. They're not trying to make you money, literally speaking. They're actually trying to do the opposite. They're trying to drain your wallet as quickly as they can before you figure out it doesn't work. So turn that off. Third tip, start with 35 plus demographic and top 20% of income. So naturally speaking, maybe you sell to younger people, that's fine, but for most of you guys, I would, at least at the very, very beginning, I would just start out with 35 plus into age targeting with whatever else that you're doing here as an additional targeting option, and top 20% of income demographic. Why? On the income, well, 70% of Americans in today's environment don't even have enough money to pay for a $500 emergency. You can go check these stats. Why the hell would you spend money advertising to somebody who can't even pay for a $500 emergency and has to wait till they get paid to buy what you sell? In terms of, maybe you can get that to work if you have some hot products, hot service, but why spend your money at least first there? At least try to make the top 20% work. and that because it has 10 times more likely, it's 10 times more likely to work than marketing to poor people. Unfortunately, I know it sounds like a dick. I sound like a dick when I say that, but it is what it is. And the older people are, again, they're just more likely to have money. So, but the reason why you do both, by the way, because the 20% of income targeting, they don't know the income of the user. They only know the income of the person, of the zip code they're in. So they know the average income by zip code. So the income targeting gets you into zip codes that are higher income. But on the user level, if you go 35 plus, people with most of the money are 35 or older. So it's basically making it more likely you're getting in front of a person that actually has money. So at least start out with that, see if you can get that to work first. And then finally, do everything else first. I touched on this before, but because the targeting options are, at least when you're talking about non-remarketing, because the targeting options are so much better on Google and Facebook, it's silly to start out trying to create a scalable ad strategy for your business on Snapchat alone, trying to find new customers at least. If you're talking about remarketing or get marketing to your customers you already have, you should basically always use Snapchat, to be simple about it. But to find new customers, that's a whole separate thing. Get it to work on these other platforms first, because they have more targeting options, but also because the scale is so much there. If you're going to put all this effort to get something to work and then you can only get a teeny bit of scale, you would have been better off to try to get that same thing to work on Facebook, because the scale is 50 times what it is, or 100 times what it is on Snapchat in terms of the number of users you can get in front of that would actually buy. So, but those are the main tips I would give you. I know this is not a full tutorial on how to make money, but you guys have, your businesses are too different from one another to give you, okay, do it this exact way. But what I can do is give you 3 different examples here of different companies and different markets where we've ran Snapchat ads to understand kind of how this could and should work. The first company I want to talk about here is a tax service. The company had a specialized tax service that specifically targeted a specific niche type of business, such as, this isn't the exact niche, but somebody who just specializes in targeting breweries. And they put out a lot of content, and then they do like thought leadership type marketing, as well as try to show up on Google in the right places too, though. But for the most part, they mainly do it through, they market their company through thought leadership. We would run remarketing ads. So anybody gets to their site, we would remarket to them on Facebook and Google and everything. The cost, when we remarketed it to them on Snapchat, because that was all we did, and that was really all that made sense, the cost per lead that we were getting through Snapchat was pretty much similar to what we were getting through Facebook and Google and TikTok and all the rest of the places that we're going to normally do remarketing at, which I've talked about in other videos, where your remarketing should be on as many platforms as possible, because certain people only go to certain sites. And because remarketing will make whatever you're doing to get new traffic to the site work better, you don't want to miss out on any leverage that the remarketing is going to provide you. So, and I also pointed this specific example out because I wanted to explain that this can work for B2B or selling to businesses, not just selling to consumers. Now, if you're trying to sell to enterprise companies, I don't agree that Snapchat's probably going to do much for you. I mean, you could try it even on a remarketing level, but for smaller businesses, definitely it can work. Secondly, luxury cabinetry company. So this company sold custom cabinets, but they were for they're luxury style, if you will. They're for a high-end buyer. This was the first company that I wanted to mention that, of course, we did remarketing like we're going to do almost every single time anyway, for every company to try to maximize what we can do through remarketing for the company. But we also found new customers through the Snapchat platform as well. Why? Because Snapchat allows you to do location-based targeting in a very specific way. Because the one thing for that type of company or any luxury product seller, particularly for like in the home service market, there's certain neighborhoods that you want to get your ads in front of. Even targeting at a zip code level is too broad. So we were able to do neighborhood level targeting with Snapchat. And then with that, on the front end, on the new prospective customers, not remarketing here, we were able to get over a 900% ROI doing video ads in those key areas of the within the driving distance of that person or that company could go by targeting people in those key neighborhoods with how good our cabinetry is and so on and so forth, driving them to a specialized landing page that goes into more about our work, showing more examples and so forth. So that gives you one example of one market where this actually you can get new customers from this. So with that said, though, I do want to throw out a caveat here. We didn't just do Snapchat marketing. This is something still that we're doing after we've maxed out Google, or at least done a lot with Google already. We've maxed out Facebook. Why? Because these people in these neighborhoods, if they are in market for cabinetry, right, it's really hard to get somebody to just say, oh, those cabinets are cool, I want them now. Sometimes you can do that. But for the most part, they're already in motion and thinking about getting cabinets for their home. So they probably already saw us on Google or whatnot, or because we're plastered all over for that person on Google, on Facebook, and so forth. So when they see our ad here, if they haven't been to our site before, they've at least probably heard of us or seen of us somewhere. So that goes into part of getting the return here. So you want to dominate your niche online, and then when you run your ad to the people that are most likely to buy on Snapchat, you'll probably get a return because they've seen or at least heard of you somewhere, even though they haven't been to your site before. And then you'll get it to work. So just some food for thought there. And then finally, the last example I could talk about here was a tax credit service, which is a company in Canada. I've talked about this in other videos, where if you're disabled, they helped you get more money back on your tax in terms of a tax credit from the government. And we were running ads everywhere: Google, Facebook, every possible thing you could think of. And in that market, when you're in a unique situation where more than 1% of the population can buy what you have, and you're selling something that is direct response where somebody can see it and then want it and respond right away, you're usually better off running ads in places where your cost per milli or cost per 1,000 is less money, because you're getting in front of the same quality of people. So why not? It should logically make sense why that should basically work. So whereas we're paying $5 to $10 a lead on Google and Facebook, we're paying $2.50 a lead on Snapchat because it's less competitive for the ad space on Snapchat. Most small businesses don't even think about Snapchat ads. They're not running there. Therefore, the cost of running the ads there is less. Snapchat has to charge less money to attract advertisers to that platform because it's so new yet. Respectively, it is still fairly new. Or just, it's not something that most people want to go for, we'll just say. So we were able to get a lesser cost per lead on Snapchat than Facebook and Google Display Network, simply because the cost per milli there is lesser than on other platforms. So in that particular case, we were getting a cheap cost per lead, and it was great running our ads there, even though it did not provide the same level of leads that other platforms were providing. The cost per lead was less. So we'll take it. We'll take what we can get. But the bonus is, yes, there's less leads, but the leads are super profitable. So we definitely want to do it. So that gives you another kind of example here of what can be done. I did not include any product companies here. I wanted to keep this video fairly short, but if you're selling a product, like I said, these first two are the things that you really want to focus on: dynamic remarketing, cart abandonment remarketing, and general remarketing for the most part. And if you sell something that's a very new product in a new category, you can get into this other stuff too. I have seen it work to some degree, so not to say that this can't work for you as well. I've seen it work, but I'm not going to go into it. I could keep talking here for 2 hours if I wanted to. But Snapchat's a very viable platform to run ads for product or service, selling to businesses or in consumers. As I've seen and as I've talked about and shown on this video, If you have any questions about anything I covered here today, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a couple days' time. If you liked the video, saw a lot of value in it, I would appreciate it if you would give it a like and consider subscribing, as I have a ton of other content on this channel that'll help you make millions of dollars with online advertising for your business. As all I do all day long is strategize ad accounts for clients and run a few dozen ad account strategies for clients on an ongoing basis. Is what I get paid for, and therefore you're getting information that's coming straight from the source, not a YouTuber who makes money on YouTube. I run an ad agency, and I work on ad strategy. So with that said, you want to get the information from the source. If you like my channel, you'll also find my information on my blog, really good or even better as well. You can find that at guaranteedppc.com/blog, as well as on my column on entrepreneur.com. You can find my writing there if you want to follow me there as well. Beyond that, if you are looking for a really good ad manager to help you with what you're doing, and you just want somebody to help you do it, I am the best ad manager you can find. I know that because I look at a lot of accounts run by other ad managers, and I can confidently say that in terms of the effort and the competency in the work that we do. And we guarantee all the work that we provide our clients. And so what that means is we can not charge fees to our clients up front until you get some minimum results up front, and that's part of our signature service. If you're interested in that, you can reach out to my firm at guaranteedppc.com. I'd be happy to give you a free assessment to see if we can work together and what kind of sales results we can provide for your company up front. We'll estimate that for you. And then if we can work together, we'll tell you what we can guarantee. But we don't work with just any client. You have to have a great product or service in the first place to work together. But I'd love to see if we can work together, and that assessment is free either way. Beyond that, if you don't want somebody to manage your campaigns, but you want to shortcut your way to success, if we've worked in your market already, we've got campaign templates that work for your market already, which we could tell you the results we got in your market and literally copy and paste the templates that work for your market, ad templates, landing page templates, and so forth, and shortcut your way to success. And the amount we charge for the templates, by the way, is less than what you're going to spend to try to figure out what we figured out over years in your market. So with that, and we've worked in over 100 markets before. So it's worth a shot reaching out to us to see if we worked in your market, and then so we can also let you know what results we've gotten in your market and potentially use what already gets results in your market already. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I'd be happy to hook you up with that as well. But I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on my next video where we have another great strategy for you then. See you later.